On.
Boy, I got my Saturday morning cartoons. You fucking around, huh?
You fucking up my schedule now.
Yo. What's going on? Welcome to another live slash quarantine TV edition of Real Fans, Real Talk. I know it's a little bit different. We live on a Saturday morning, but things change with the schedule. Sometimes we got to move around, do what we got to do. But we are back and ready to get into some sports talk. With that being said, though, let me introduce my co-host, my brother, the one and only legend in two games, Eric Sanchez. What's going on, man?
What's really good, bro? We changed the schedule around, but we always gonna give the content to the people, man. We always gonna be ready to talk some ish.
Absolutely. So let's get ready to jump right in. NBA action is going. It's that time. It's time for NBA now. We pretty much all wrapped up with the NFL. As sad as that is for us football fans, we only get but so many games in the season. But NBA is at that point right now. We at the All-Star break, so this is where things really start to heat up for the NBA. I'm sure the tickets is about to start going crazy right now for the NFL for the NBA because ain't no more football to bet on. So I know them tickets is about to go crazy. But we're gonna start with honoring some of the legends to play this game. The Hall of Fame finalists were announced, and amongst them, there's a couple of guys that I'm pretty sure you're familiar with, Eric. Um, Dwayne Wade, Dirk Nowitzki, Pau Gasol, and one of my favorite coaches, someone who's definitely not ever afraid to speak his mind and do the right thing for the right causes and for the right reasons. Coach Pop out in San Antonio, Greg Popovich, are amongst the finalists for this year's Hall of Fame class. Um, what's your thoughts on the class, man? On the finalists?
I think they're all first ballots. Amazing contributions to the game of basketball. Not only here in our country, but internationally. When you talk about Gasol, when you talk about Dirk, obviously D Wade is part of the Redeem team and everything he's done as an ambassador for the game. So all those guys well deserving. They'll go in, and it should be quite the ceremony for those guys.
Absolutely. It's kind of crazy because I feel like Wade ain't been out the league for because I thought it's like 5 years. I feel like Wade ain't been out of the league for 5 years. Would you?
Well, yeah, yeah, I think you are right though. It's close. We were at his final game at the Barclays, and I
Oh,
could have sworn that was. I thought that was 2019.
damn, you're right. COVID. Once again, COVID straight
Yeah,
in and threw everything off because I forget about them years because we've been in we because COVID was started in 2019.
and then
That was
20
the reason
20
before that.
what the pandemic really hit 2020.
Yeah.
We saw him the year before that Miami Heat game at
So,
Brooklyn. It
so
was
you're talking about 2018 now.
I can't remember. It had to be 2018. Like you said, right? It would be 5 years now for him to be eligible. So it would have had to been
Sorry
2018.
about the technical difficulties, guys. They trying to knock the hustle right now, but we'll be right back with you guys in just a second. There we go. As soon as we get to, all right, there we go. They trying to knock the hustle, Eric, but we ain't gonna let them stop us.
Can't stop anything, man. We ain't stopping for nobody. But yeah, it might have been 2018. I just remember we were there that night. The last game of the season, Miami in Brooklyn. So it might have been 2018. And either way, I mean, we could have. I think we would have decided 3 years ago that D Wade should go in on the first ballot.
Yeah, I mean, I would say so clearly. Three-time NBA champion, Finals MVP. The resume speak for itself. A bunch of All NBA appearances, a bunch of All Star game appearances. D Wade's resume speaks for itself. That if that ain't a first ballot Hall of Fame career, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I agree. And the same thing with Dirk. Dirk, multiple time, obviously All Star, MVP of the league, um, first team All NBA, NBA champion, played in two NBA finals. One of the true ambassadors for globalizing the game because Dirk. We had international and foreign players before Dirk, but Dirk was the one who really took it to the next level. Him and Yao Ming were like the two guys that really made us pay attention to players from other countries and understand that there was a lot of talent over there.
Absolutely. Now let me ask you this, because Dirk is recognized as the greatest European player uh to play in the NBA, with the longevity in his career and the things that he was able to accomplish. Um there's two guys right now from Europe, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Luka Doncic. Which one of those guys, if either, do you think surpasses Dirk Nowitzki as the greatest European basketball player to play in the NBA?
Right now, as we have this discussion, I would have to say Giannis because Luca's resume isn't as complete as Giannis's in terms of Giannis is already a two-time MVP, right? Two-time MVP, Finals MVP. So he's done a little bit more than Luca has, but that's not to say Luca can't get there. But if we're talking today, it's Giannis. And the irony is, Dirk was originally drafted to Milwaukee, and on draft day he got traded to Dallas.
That's crazy. Yeah, I would have to say Giannis as well. Not to say that Luca can't get there, because obviously Luca's one of the greatest basketball talents, that we've seen in some time coming to the league. But just resume wise, to be honest with you, right now Giannis probably has a better resume than Dirk. I think it's just a matter of time now. But when you look at, they both have an NBA championship. But Giannis already has more MVPs. He has a defensive player of the year. We know Dirk wasn't much of a defensive player. Um, so we can't really, in that area, Giannis has got him. So yeah, I would have to say definitely Giannis, but it's wide open for Luka and what he'll be able to accomplish in this league. He's one of the best players right now, an unstoppable force on the offensive end of the basketball. So yeah, I would definitely say Giannis. Shout out to everybody popping into to the live right now. See y'all dropping y'all comments up there. Who's that? Hoop Baller Scoop. Oh, happy. Let me put that up. Yeah, we got. Let's take a second to pay homage to the GOAT right now, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, and shout out to Hoop Baller Scoop. He says happy birthday to the GOAT Michael Jordan. Um, Now we not young enough. We got a lot of Jordan memories. Come on, don't we I ain't gonna say we ain't old, you know what I'm saying, but we ain't young either. We got you know what I'm saying, we definitely got a lot of MJ stories. And I was an MJ fan growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, people always wonder why I wasn't a Knicks fan, is because I was an MJ fan growing up and watching Michael Jordan and everything that he was able to do. You know, on the court, off the court, as far as Space Jam was one of my favorite movies when I was younger, but on the court, nobody, you know what I'm saying, did it the way MJ did. Um, I was hurt when he left the first time. I was, you know what I'm saying, like that cut me real deep, because it's like, yo, when when your favorite player is the best player in their respective sport and they leave, that leaves a void inside. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, we are huge MJ fans. But God, Eric, talk to me about MJ.
Well, I want to thank Hoop Baller Scoop. He thinks we're younger than what we are, so I thank you for that you're saying that. But fondest memories of Mike. I hated Mike during this time. I'm not gonna lie to you, because I'm a diehard Nick fan, but I always respected what Mike did. Some of my fondest memories, obviously, Game 6 against Utah, the what should have been his last shot before he decided to come out of retirement a second time. But that one, but my probably the one that always sticks out with me is when Mike came out of retirement, and obviously the back page of the headline was "I'm back." And his first game at the Garden. And at the time, if you remember, the Knicks the year before had gone to the finals. We lost to Houston. So in my mind, I thought, like, all right, we're the big fish now. Now Mike got to find a way to beat us. And in his first game back at the Garden, he dropped 55 and then gets the key assist. I believe it was to Bill Winnington for the game-winning shot. So after Mike dropped 55 on us and then we double teamed him, he drops off a pass to Bill Winnington to beat us. And it was at that moment where I knew, like, we never gonna beat Mike, man. It don't matter. If we the defending Eastern Conference champs and this dude been playing baseball for a year and a half and he could come back and drop 55 on us, we never beat Mike.
Yo, man, that Mike is the greatest to ever do it. Shout out to Mike again because e- every time when you think Mike not gonna take over the headlines, Mike comes back and take over the headlines. When we was in a drought during COVID and wasn't nothing going on, Mike comes out with the last dance. Now Mike just turns 60. Mike says, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and drop a little bag, a light bag, like 10 million to the Make a Wish Foundation, which just so happens to be the largest donation ever to the Make a Wish Foundation. So you gotta love that. I mean, I got J's on my feet right now. Y'all, if y'all see behind, I don't know if y'all can see too. Hold on, let me turn the camera a little bit. Y'all can see, you can see some of the J's back there in the case right there. So we big sneakerheads over here.
That's right.
You know. So yeah, man. I actually I'm getting ready to buy my next pair of J's now. I'm just trying to figure out which direction I want to go with it because I wanted the big joints, but I ain't gonna pay 16 racks.
Nah, nah.
Sneakers. That's
That's
not
the
a
tough part. The big collaboration is super dope, but they so exclusive that's very tough to get. Put Melissa's question up there though. I like that question from Melissa. We appreciate you guys tuning in with us today as well.
absolutely. Shout out to Melissa.
So her question is, hey guys, question for the panel. When did LeBron jump over Kobe and Magic in the GOAT debate with Jordan, or is it a media thing? Trip, you want to kick that one off?
I want to kick that kick that one off. It was wild. I would probably say after the second ring in Miami, because now you're talking about LeBron having 4 MVPs at that point, uh, 2 championships, 2 finals MVPs, amongst all the other accolades that he's had. I would probably say around that point. That was probably like the where it was like, all right, yeah, LeBron is ahead of a lot of guys, not even just Kobe and Magic. And I don't, to be honest with you, I don't I don't know if Magic has really been in the GOAT conversation, as after because once Jordan took over the league, that was pretty much it. So I don't really see too many Magic in the GOAT conversations. If anything, I might see more Kareem's than Magic. And then the thing with Kobe is, because Kobe plays the same position as MJ, I think that stops him from really being in the GOAT conversation. So I don't even think it's probably more so him being a shooting guard and Mike being a shooting guard that kind of stopped him from being in the GOAT conversation, as opposed to really what LeBron did. But LeBron did put the stamp, I would say, around the second championship in Miami.
So I'm hoping to start a new trend, and it's something that we spoke about before. What bothers me about the GOAT conversation is we're trying to pick one guy above everyone else when on a basketball court there's 5 positions, right? So everybody doesn't do the same thing. It's a little tough. So what I would like us to transition to is more of like best player at his position. And if you're the best player at your position, then we could really have the GOAT conversation. So that's kind of to your point. That's why for me, Kobe doesn't quite make the GOAT conversation. I think Kobe is top 10 all time though, but at his position alone, he's already the second best player ever. So it makes it tough to make him the GOAT. For me, though, LeBron passed Kobe. I think more, I wouldn't go as early as the Miami years, even though I think that was the best version of LeBron. But I think his second stint with Cleveland is where, for me, he kind of passed Kobe, because the things he was doing as a leader on the court, obviously coming back 3-1 against Golden State, but then even that next time when he takes that Cavs team that really wasn't that good to the finals, and they get swept by Golden State, but Golden State was the juggernaut at that time with KD, with Steph, with Clay. But the fact that he got them there and they had a chance to win game one in Golden State before J.R. Smith lost track of time there, for me, is kind of what slightly put him above Kobe and Magic. But again, it's not fair because Magic played in a completely different era. Magic didn't have the freedom to kind of play the way LeBron plays now. Magic was a true point guard. He distributed, and as has been well documented, Magic went to a team that was heavy on veterans, so he kind of had to appease everybody and be a true point guard. He can't just come in, though he could have averaged 25 right off the rip. He couldn't come in and do that because he had to feed, Kareem. He had to get other guys involved. So for me, LeBron slightly gets a nudge over them based on that second stint in Cleveland.
Yeah. And again, I have Magic as the greatest point guard of all time. So if Eric, when we do do our five best at the position, I do have Magic as the greatest point guard of all time. But it's hard to surpass what LeBron has done, especially at this point in his career. And it's super hard to pass what MJ was able to accomplish in his career. So, but again, for as far as Kobe goes, what I'm saying, much respect to Kobe, but yeah, that him he's always going to be hurt by being a shooting guard, which sucks because in order to even be in that conversation and you're playing that position, you have to have an immaculate career, and we haven't seen that. So it would be hard for Kobe. But again, Kobe is a legend, one of the greatest to ever play this game. Same thing with Magic, one of the greatest to ever play this game. It's just unfortunate, but it is what it is. But thank you, Melissa, for
Shit, I
question.
think if you're mentioning the top 10, that's an accomplishment in itself, because
Yeah,
again, thousands of guys have played in the NBA. So to be one of the 10 best to ever do it, if you're telling me I had to pick 10 guys and have a starting five and five coming off the bench, Kobe's in that list. So that's not a knock against Kobe at all.
yeah, exactly. I mean, hands down. We I go back to the to Kevin Durant quote. You know who I am.
Right.
It's the same thing for who Kobe is. And Eric, I'm not a Kobe fan, but I've always given him his respect for what he's done on the court, except for wearing them ugly ass sneakers. But other than that, I gave Kobe all the props in the world for what he's been able to accomplish on the court. But yeah, mention if you're in the top 10, if you got that mention, it is what it is. Like you're one of the ones. And
Yeah.
that's it.
And I see Ron's comment up there. I mean, yeah, I think we agree with you because, like we just said, for me personally, um, I want to shift away from just the GOAT conversation and be like, all right, who the five best? Who would be your starting five? And I agree. I think Magic is in that conversation because to me, Magic is the greatest point guard ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And for you guys, because I don't know if everybody agree, but he said Magic is the top five ever, period. Think about this, youngins, non-finals in 12 years, right? Magic was 6'9", best passer ever, 3 finals MVP, 3 season MVPs, 9-time first team, 5 titles. Hey, and his career was short. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
shout
Now
out to Ron.
to play devil's advocate, because I agree with you though, Ron. I do. I have Magic in my top five as well. But to play devil's advocate, if somebody wanted to counter that argument, you could also say he went to a team that had Kareem, who was already a champion and a multiple time MVP. And in most people's eyes at that time, Kareem was the greatest basketball player ever. But that doesn't take away from what Magic. I still agree with you though.
Yeah, and again, because I have Magic in my top five as the greatest point guard of all time. Which kind of sucks for some other cats who I like as well, because the same fate that Kobe has, because he's number two, because MJ is number one. For point guards, it's going to be hard for guys to take the number one point guard spot from Magic Johnson, because he accomplished so many things. A lot of those things you said right there, but there's so much more that Magic has done throughout
Mhm.
throughout his career. So even if you look at a guy like Steph Curry, who completely changed the NBA, with his shooting abilities, even and Steph has 4 rings now. It's still hard. It's still going to be hard to surpass Magic as the number one point guard of all time, even with 4 rings. I don't even know. Let me ask you this, Eric. What would Steph have to do? And you guys can drop a comment too if you like. What would Steph have to do to surpass Magic as the greatest point guard of all time?
I don't think he could surpass Magic, to be honest. I think Steph revolutionized the game as you highlighted, and he's brought something different to the game. But he's not a point guard in the way that Magic was a point guard. And as just to repeat kind of what I said earlier too, Magic could have averaged 25 a game if he wanted to.
Yeah.
He if Magic really said, "Yo, I'm gonna average 25 and 10 this year," he would have averaged 25 and 10. But he was a true point guard. Ron, I agree with you. He can't pass Magic. I don't think. Um, is he one of the? And it's tough too with Steph because the resume isn't complete yet. But I just personally, I don't think he can pass Magic.
Yeah, I don't think that he will be able to pass Magic either. Um, but I would say this, right? Because if you're a person that puts a lot on rings, right? If Steph Curry gets 6 rings, does that help with the case to say he's surpassed Magic as the number one uh point guard of all time? Like, so there's just nothing that Steph could do at this point that would push him ahead of Magic.
I mean, if he goes on a crazy run at this part of his career, like and Hoop Baller Scoop mentioned as well, if he goes crazy and gets 3 more titles and 3 more Finals MVPs, then it's a conversation. But I always go back to the style of play and the way the NBA was played then is completely different than now. Magic
Yeah,
had to play within a structure and had to be a true point guard. Steph has been given the freedom to freelance. He plays off the ball. Sometimes he plays on the ball. Even when he's the primary ball handler, he still gets a green light to shoot whenever he wants. He doesn't run an offense in a way that I got to get other people involved. He runs the offense to get himself involved. And
yeah.
so again, if Magic had played that way, Magic's numbers would look crazy too. Magic's points per game and total points would look crazy as well. So that's why for me, I don't think Curry could do it. Now, if he goes 3 more titles, 3 Finals MVPs, as Hoop Baller Scoop has mentioned,
Yeah.
then maybe it's a conversation. But right now, I don't see it.
I think what we should do, Eric, and I'm gonna challenge everybody that's in the live rocking with us right now as well. You guys can drop your comments in once when we do our official top five. I want to include you guys' opinions of the top five, and then we'll kind of do like a legitimate panel with my picks, Eric's picks, and we'll take the fans' picks as well, and then we'll come up with the official top five list. So, guys, we definitely gonna need y'all help on that one. Letting us know who you guys have as the best at each position in basketball, so that we can come up with the official top five list for the NBA.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. Let's get the people involved as well. What else we got on the rundown today, Trip?
Uh, well, we got a little bit more NBA stuff going down. Um, shout out to everybody that made the All-Star team. Giannis, however, did sprain his wrist in that last game against the Bulls, so his status for the All-Star game is uncertain. So now there'll be no Giannis, no Kevin Durant in this thing. Does Team Giannis still have a chance if if Giannis cannot play?
I mean, they should have a chance. There's a bunch of all-stars, right? And I would assume that some of these veterans like LeBron are going to be on a minutes restriction. Bron ain't trying to be out there more than 15 minutes on
No, yeah,
Sunday, tomorrow night. You know what I'm saying? He trying to show face, give the fans a little bit of a show, and then move on. But I mean, I don't know, man. This All Star weekend, this All Star game is. I know I sound old by saying it just doesn't do it for me anymore, man. It's just there's something missing from this All Star weekend.
yeah, I would agree with that. Things have changed, and I think a large part of that is we're not always getting the best players because of the fan vote. So sometimes guys that should be on the roster get left off because of that, which is fine because All Star Weekend is all for the fans, so that's fine. But we don't always get the best, competition because guys that really should make it don't necessarily make it because they don't get voted in. That, and then you combine with how much the the dunk contest has changed and not lived up to what we saw during the MJ versus Dominique, the Vincent T Mac, you know what I mean, when Kobe won, because we don't get the top players in the dunk contest. That takes away from All Star Weekend as well. I mean, shoot, at this point, the celebrity game might be the best part of All Star Weekend. Shout out to the Miz, he hit that half court buzzer beater to win the celebrity game. But yeah, man, it's not the same as it used to be. So I definitely get that.
Yeah, it's just not it. But for the younger fans, enjoy it. You got some vets that you may not see in too many more All Star games. I mean, we don't know how many more Bron gonna be around for. It's already an honor that he's played 20 years. So I don't think we're gonna get 5 more All Star appearances either. So let's enjoy them now.
We'll probably get like two more, maybe three, depending on how long Braun wants to stay around. Because I know he definitely is trying to play, a year with Bronny in the league. So we'd have to see. But yeah, five is kind of a stretch, which sucks for me because that's my guy. I see. Shout out to Darla. Let me throw your comment up on the screen. Darla says, "So if Steph Curry and Kevin Durant in your all-time top 10 ever, or is one in and one out, or both out?" Eric, I'll let you start with that one.
So Kevin Durant is not in my top 10. We did it was a few months back. Remember we talked about could Steph get into the top 10? This was after they had won the finals. I have Steph just outside the top 10 right now. I think Steph ultimately will be in the top 10, but for me, Kevin Durant isn't there yet. It's still a lot more that resume needs, including winning a championship, another championship. Um, so to answer your question, Steph is closer. Durant isn't in for me.
Yeah, I don't even. I gotta like really kind of recalculate to see where I have Durant at in my list. I'm sure once I actually sit and take all my notes, he's definitely in my top 20 right now. But it's probably closer to 20 for Kevin Durant. I'll probably say maybe like around maybe like in the 15 to 20 range, somewhere in there. For Steph, um, I got him he's on the outside looking in right now. I probably would say Steph is at like 11 for me. But I think by the time he retires, he'll have accomplished so much that he'll definitely be in my top 10. Because I mean, the man changed the game. Okay,
Greatest shooter ever.
greatest shooter that we've ever seen. I think last year's championship for me was the most impressive for Steph Curry in a year where he got his first Finals MVP ever. So with Steph is like he continues to add on to those accolades and continues to jump up on the list. So I'm sure he'll be in my top 10 by the time he retires. Kevin Durant's kind of been stagnant on the list. He hasn't really moved up for me, because I mean, what has he done since, what I'm saying, leaving Golden State? Really, there wasn't really much of an improvement. Yeah, I mean, obviously he scored a little bit more points, got a little bit more rebounds and assists, but other than that, they didn't make it out of the second round of the playoffs while he was in Brooklyn. So he still has to put some work in. A ring in Phoenix. If he got a ring in Phoenix this year, I'd probably push him closer to 15. But even with that, I don't see Kevin Durant jumping that far up. Like he'd have to win multiple more championships or get another MVP or so. It'd be a lot more that Kevin Durant would have to do for me to get into my top 10.
Yeah, I agree. The comment right here about drunk, I was gonna mention that as well. Like with Durant a little bit, it feels like the career is unfulfilled a little bit. And I agree with his comment. Like I said, I think in 20 years from now, basketball fans won't even halfway worship Durant like they do now. Curry forever iconic though. I agree. Like it kind of feels like Durant peaked very early,
Yeah.
winning the MVP in Oklahoma City. And at that time, he was viewed by many people as a top two, top three player in the league at that time. But it's been unfulfilled since he's left Golden State. To Darla's point, because she mentioned the Gilbert Arenas comment about Durant doesn't win the title this year with the Suns. It's the biggest failure of his career. And then she also says, why do we discredit Durant's titles with the Warriors? That's crazy. So two parts to that. Um, it is a big failure, not only if he doesn't win with the Suns, but just in general because of what happened in Brooklyn. We can't forget that he was the biggest fish on the market at the time. He went to Brooklyn. We were expecting Brooklyn to become not a dynasty, but a legitimate title contender year in, year out. They won one playoff series the whole time he was there. So for me, it's unfulfilled in that way. And if he go now that he got his way, he's going to Phoenix. He's got to fulfill the promises now. He got to go there and win a championship because this team was in the finals 2 years ago without Kevin Durant. So if he doesn't go there and win, it is a big failure. I don't think we discredit Durant's titles though with the Warriors. I just think that they don't hold as much weight as some other titles. Like his two titles in Golden State don't hold more weight than Giannis's title with Milwaukee. It doesn't hold more weight than Dirk's title with Dallas. Like these were guys who got it out the mud and had to really struggle to get there. Durant jumped on a team that was already an NBA champion and had been to back-to-back finals. So they didn't need Durant to win. He made them special. He made them legendary, but they didn't need him.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what. So yeah, I don't think it's it's a discredit thing because at the end of the day, he went there and did what he was supposed to do. Now, if he went there and did not win championships after they had won one already, that would have just been crazy. But yeah, it's just not going to be ranked as high as a couple of those championships that you mentioned, just because of the team that he went to. I mean, we're talking about a team that had won 73 games and broke the regular season record for wins, and then he joins that team. So yeah, people are looking at that like, had you gone to someplace else and wanted to be like, all right, cool, but we're not gonna rank those as high. But no, he won those championships. He got Finals MVP. He did what he was supposed to do. But if he doesn't win now in Phoenix, and I'm not even gonna say I'll give him next year. I'm not even gonna say this year if he doesn't win a
Right.
championship in Phoenix, because it's halfway through the season. He's injured. He's not even playing right now. He's not gonna be back until after the All-Star break. And again, we don't even know exactly when Kevin Durant will be back. There's not that many games left in the season. You still have to develop some type of chemistry with the team. So I wouldn't even put too much on it if he doesn't win this year. But going into next season, if everybody's healthy and you can't win a championship with that team, with Devin Booker being one of the better up and coming superstars in this league, with DeAndre Ayton, continuing to get better, and then the leadership of Chris Paul. Yeah, now we got a problem. Now you might drop. He might instead of going up, he might drop out of my top 20 if he don't get a ring in
Right.
Phoenix.
And it'll be interesting to see how people even view that if they were to win a championship, because again, Phoenix was in the finals 2 years ago. So it's not like you're going to a team that hasn't had any success. He even outlined it himself. Monty Williams, these guys were just in the finals a couple years ago. Now he's going there to try to help them get over the hump. If they win, it's great for him. But is it one of those that we say, wow, this is such an accomplishment? Like you went to a team that had the best record in the West last year. Phoenix had the best record last year. And the year before that, they were in the finals. So it wasn't like they were struggling to succeed.
Yeah. I see here Wesley doing, shout out to Wesley doing. He says, damn, did y'all hear about the Brian Forbes situation? I read it this morning. I didn't want to go, us to go into too much detail on it just because we don't have all the information yet. Allegedly his he has, I mean, her occupation doesn't really matter in this
But
situation, but
Wesley mentioned it there, so I was trying to hold in the smirk what he said on that comment.
that get there, but because I don't want us to be like seem like we're making light of the situation,
Right.
because it is a domestic situation. But we wanted to get a little bit more information before we really went in on it. But yeah, supposedly, or I guess allegedly, however you want to say it, there was a domestic violence situation where he beat up his girlfriend. Um, I, I mean, y'all know we don't advocate. You know what I'm saying, and we've said that we've always talked about this for years. We don't advocate violence against females in any way. We didn't ever really advocating against violence like that. Period. And unless it's warranted, but we definitely don't support any type of domestic abuse here. But again, we do want to get all of the information first before we really delve into the subject.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we don't support it. If you putting your hands on women, you a sucker. Let's call it what it is. But in this situation, I also want us to find out the details before we really speak on it and know what took place. Again, these are allegations right now. We had a similar situation recently with Javante Davis that, we had to wait till all the details came out. And then when we found out all the details, it wasn't how the story originally was portrayed. So
Yeah.
I think it's best that we wait until we know a little bit more.
And to answer your other question, Wesley, I believe it was, first of all, who would wife up a porn star? A lot of guys wife up porn stars. You'd be surprised, So just, I know that's kind of, it might sound crazy, but yeah, a lot of people would wife up porn stars because, some people think with the other head and not this head. So,
Right.
they that might just happen. But to get back to the Suns, I want to get to Drunk's comments here. Drunk says Chris Paul is going to be the scapegoat when Phoenix don't win. I can see that. Just because we don't know which version of Chris Paul we're going to see come playoffs. Because again, last year, once they got to the Dallas series, Chris Paul kind of faded away.
Fell
So I
apart.
can
Yep.
definitely see that. Um, I mean, he's the elder statesman of the group. He's one of the older players in the league. If they lose though, I honestly I wouldn't personally make Chris Paul the scapegoat just because now you have Kevin Durant on that team, and Kevin Durant should make up for a lot of which you don't get from Chris Paul that late in the season because he's older, which you don't get from DeAndre Ayton because he can be up and down. I think Kevin Durant makes up for a lot of that. Um, so and again, if Kevin Durant was on the team last year when they played Dallas, I don't think it would have mattered what Chris Paul did because Kevin Durant would have got them through that series no matter what. So I think at this point, I think they're going to go as far as Kevin Durant can take them.
Yeah, I'm intrigued just by how this season and next season play out for them because Durant has missed a lot of games the last few years. Chris Paul's a guy who struggles to stay healthy, and Mikal Bridges was their best perimeter defender. So yeah, you add Kevin Durant, and on paper, like if we playing 2K, oh, it sounds great. We just gonna outscore you. But now they don't really have a guy to chase you around the perimeter who could defend. Chris Paul hasn't been a great defender in quite some time. Devin Booker isn't. Kevin Durant isn't that same defender he once was. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out with them over the next year and a half.
Absolutely. Now, Eric, it's clear that Wesley has chose violence today.
Wesley. Listen, I like your comments though. I ain't gonna front. But
I love
it. But Wes woke up this morning like, yo, I need answers on some things that's going on around the league right now. He need answers. He need answers. The question he got is if you're Scottie Pippen Jr., how do you feel about playing with Malik Beasley? If I'm Scottie Pippen Jr., I think I would have been like, yo, just release me, get me off the scene. There's no way, bro. There's no way that we could be in the locker room and laughing and joking, knowing that you used to knock down my mom's, bro. It just can't happen.
And it did. The situation did not like end well at all. No. Like we either gotta the only way I can see it working out is we gotta put the gloves on and go in the backyard for 2-3 minutes. After that, then
let me ask you a question, right? But realistically, right? Like, why should him fighting Malik Beasley ain't do nothing wrong.
No, but because
I'm a grown man, your mom's a grown woman. He ain't got no ties to Scottie Pippen Jr. It ain't like
don't.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, realistically, Scottie, if you mad, right? You mad, cool. Me fighting you, what that prove, bro? Like, I don't owe you no loyalties. You wasn't my man's.
You don't. That's why it's just crazy. I can't look at you. And on top of that, I'm not getting minutes like that. You getting all the minutes. Like, yo, like
I guess you scrap over the playing time then. I guess that's what it is. Like, you was knocking out my mom's and you getting more minutes than me now? I can see that. Okay.
Something gotta give, man. It's messed up, man. Like, I would be sick. I ain't gonna hold you. I'll be sick. Like, thankfully, nobody. First of all, my mom has been married for a long time now, so ain't nobody close to my age.
Both of my moms have been married for quite some time. It's not a scenario we've ever had to live through.
So I feel for that young man. But thankfully I didn't have to go through that. Yeah, it's got to be tough though. Just seriously though, it's got to be a little tough. Because that's everybody knows mom's a sensitive area. Like, I'm just gonna put it like that. Everybody's mom. That's why as soon as we could be going back and forth dissing each other, but as soon as somebody say your mama, it gets serious. Because now I got to see how far you're gonna take this thing. So I definitely get it if I'm Scottie Pippen Jr. But I mean, listen, it's something you're gonna have to deal with. Like, like your mom likes younger men.
Right. She dating Mike's son right now. And Hoop Baller Scoop just said it. Why would Pippen fight him? I agree. It's not the beef. It ain't Scottie Pippen's place, Scottie Pippen Jr.'s place. Like, at the end of the day, whatever his mom chose, it would be different if him and Malik Beasley were already teammates. And then that happened. Then it's like, yo, bro, you crossed the line. Like,
wait,
go ahead, Trip.
Let me ask you this, because what if it was a situation like it got heated in practice, right? And remember when Garnett and Carmelo got into it, and he said, he's like, yo, your mom tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios. What if something like that happened? They was going hard in practice.
Yeah. I mean, then that's it. Yeah, you hook off on them. You hook off on them, and you do what you got to do. But if y'all were teammates and that happened, then that's different. But y'all had no ties to each other. Scottie Pippen Jr., I don't even think was even in the league at the time when Larissa and
No,
Malik Beasley were seeing each other. So he has no ties to him at all. Now, if it was like, we don't know how true this rumor is, we always heard the rumor about Delonte West and LeBron's mom. Now that's different. Situation like that,
yeah.
like if you my teammate and you trying to mess, yeah, then we gotta scrap.
You gotta catch this
We
fade. You
yeah,
gotta get these pause.
yeah, we gotta shoot the fair one, and we gotta clear the air on with this fair one real quick. But in this case, I don't think Malik did nothing wrong, and I don't think Scottie Pippen Jr. should be worried about fighting him. Scottie Pippen Jr. should be worried about trying to get on the court.
Yeah, nah, Malik Beasley definitely do nothing wrong. He did what he was supposed to do in that situation because I would have took it down too if it was me, you know. But yeah, and she definitely. I would say she's a little bit trifling though. Messing with Michael Jordan's son. Who well, I see you put that up there in the comment as well. That's a
Mhm.
bit. That's messy. That is really messy, especially when you know there's tension right now between Mike and Scotty because of everything that came out after the Last Dance was released. You know what I mean? They're not on the best of, I mean, I don't even know if and when they were on the best of terms. I can't really say on that, but you know, just for you to be dating the son of your ex-husband's teammate, that is super messy. And as the older woman in the situation, you know better than that. Like you just out here wilding.
Yeah, I mean it's disrespectful to Scotty too, because it's like, look how you carrying it out here. You know what I'm saying? If you want to date people, but every month or two we see you with another celebrity dude. Most of the time they're younger than you. You see drunks comments. Future wrote a song about knocking it down in a particular brand of flip flops. You know what I'm saying? Like it's ugly, man. It's ugly out here. The
Hey,
song was
listen, I'm
about it. He
not.
said it. He said the song was about it.
Hey, listen, she out here. She for the streets. It is. It is. It
Scotty
is what it.
Scotty might be the most disrespected Hall of Fame of all time. Like after the Last Dance came out and we found out he was getting paid pennies in terms of NBA money anyway, getting paid
Yep.
pennies. And then you hear all this type of stuff, and now his wife is like, oh man, when does it end?
Yeah. Listen, I ain't. I can't call it, man. But listen, hey guys, listen, shout out to everybody that's on the live right now. Keep them comments coming in. Make sure that you guys are subscribed to all of our social media, Instagram, Twitter at Real Fan Talk. You see the Facebook on the screen right now, facebook.com/Real Fans Real Talk. I'm gonna throw the YouTube channel up there real quick so y'all can subscribe to that channel. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, man. Get them notifications and all of that in. And once again, if you guys are not in the New York City area and you can't watch us on Thursday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. on Verizon 43, do not worry. You can still watch us from anywhere in the world. All you got to do is go to realfansrealtalk.com, click that red button on the homepage on Thursday nights, and you can watch from anywhere in the world. And make sure you guys are subscribed to the Real Fans Real Talk podcast and to the Sanchez Show podcast as well. Um, we're gonna keep the lives up because we love having this type of input from you guys. We're live on Friday nights. I know we've been bouncing around a little bit with the weekend schedule, but we're gonna lock in a time soon. So just continue rocking with us, guys. We definitely appreciate all the love, all the support, and these comments, man. Wesley, you got us going in this
West
morning.
West the Wesley opened something up here because him and drunk a funny dude. I can see that comment too. He said she for the courts. Melissa's comment. This is something that actually had been out before. Yeah, drunk wilding right now. But Melissa's comment. Throw Melissa's comment up there. Her question and comment, I should say. Did y'all hear
Mhm.
anything about Carmelo having his first child by a 13-year-old girl and he was 21? Guess that's been coming up a lot often in the news. So I remember when I first heard about this is something that isn't new news. It had come out before, and I think it had even come out when he was still playing. Um, it became it was. I mean, he was in college at the time. He was having an inappropriate relationship with a very young girl. Um, I th- I don't know all the details about how the county handled it because obviously in most cases like this you would end up going to jail. But obviously something took place that he avoided jail time and he ended up paying. I think he paid a settlement to the family and he wasn't going to be in the child's life. And then come to find out that child actually made it to the NFL. His son that he had no relationship with made it to the NFL. But that was the first time I heard about it because I think his son played. I could be wrong. I think he played for the Titans and the Eagles at one point. But he doesn't have the same last name, so a lot of people didn't know about it. But this is something that's not all the way new. I guess through memes and social media starting to circulate again, though.
Yeah, I heard about it years ago.
Hmm.
I don't even remember the first time, but I want to say maybe over 10 years ago. I
Hmm.
first heard about it happening. I mean, it's obviously that's just crazy. The fact that that went down like that, and there was no type of Carl Malone ain't go to jail or nothing behind that. I, we talking about a different time completely though. At the same time, because I mean, Carl Malone is what, in his 50s right now.
Hmm.
So we're talking about 30 years ago. Things were a lot different 30 years ago as far as the legal system. If that went down today, Karl Malone would have been thrown under the jail.
Yeah.
Let's be clear, with the way that the Me Too movement and how the law is today, Karl Malone would have been thrown under the jail if something like that happened in today's uh day and age.
Yeah.
But
There,
at
there
that
was a
time,
yeah, there was a I can't think. I was trying to remember the guy's name, but there was a podcaster who kind of talked about this story, and he was like I said, he's the one who mentioned that there was a settlement paid to the family. So I don't know again the legalities, like if there were charges actually going to be brought up on Karl Malone, and then they just settled out of court for the financial part of it because the girl again was so young and end up having the baby, obviously. Um,
yeah,
but this day and age, if something like that would have happened, bro, we would have known about it very early on. Like I say, he would have got thrown under the jail, reputation, career, all that would have been ruined. I guess fortunately for him, I guess that's the right wording to use. This happened in the deep south, and it happened at a time when there wasn't this type of media coverage.
yeah. And I see Melissa also said Rob Parker and Chris Broussard said he should be banned from the All Star game. I mean, yeah, but if we this people knew about this for a long time, and Karl Malone has been in the 50 greatest players, the 75-year anniversary team. So if anything, he should have been shut out of everything. So I don't necessarily see them doing it now if they haven't already done it. I mean, this is something that should have been done, and he's still been a participant in a lot of things. Like I've seen Karl Malone, a lot in in the NBA spectrum. So I don't know if they do that now. Maybe if it becomes a big enough issue. But again, I haven't seen, like, let's just because Melissa's saying is, because of the All Star game right now, I haven't seen in the media too much talk about it. So I don't know if it's going to be made into a big enough deal to where it would be a situation where Adam Silver would have to step in and say, Carl, kind of gonna have to ban you from anything NBA from here on out.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll get to that point either, as you mentioned. But I'm not the biggest Karl Malone fan because he made some very disparaging and harsh remarks about Magic Johnson when Magic first contracted the virus and Magic was trying to make his comeback. Karl Malone was very vocal about Magic shouldn't play and I shouldn't have to worry about a guy sweating on me or bleeding on me, like just some really foul things he said. So I've never been a fan of his. So if the league were to ban him, or if this stuff continues to come out and he gets booed tomorrow night during an appearance, good for
Yeah. Plus, the mailman don't deliver on Sundays anyway. So there you go.
him. He don't deliver in finals either.
Yeah, clearly, get him out of there, man. Damn, we done did a whole lot of NBA talk. We didn't even get to. We got to do a little bit of football talk. Eric Bieniemy, my guy, your guy, Eric. I guess now former offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, two-time Super Bowl champion offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy has decided to take his talents to Washington, and and he is now going to be the offensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders. We got into it last night on a live, so I'm not going to go too crazy with it now. But I'll just say this again. Uh, I think it's the worst possible decision that Eric Bieniemy could have made, taking that particular job, to leave a Super Bowl championship team who can probably go back to the Super Bowl for the next couple of years, realistically, if they can keep somewhat of a variation of the roster that they have now together. I'm just not going to leave for an organization that is in complete dysfunction right now, and that's before you even get to the players on the field and the talent that they may have or may not have. That organization is so messed up right now, so uncertain. There's so many uncertainties. We don't know what's going to happen with the Washington Commanders, whether or not the team is going to be sold in the foreseeable future or not. So there's just so many uncertainties. So I don't know why you choose the Commanders of all of the jobs, the offensive coordinator jobs that you were offered. I don't know why you chose the Washington Commanders, but I like Eric Bieniemy, so I'm just gonna hope that everything works out for him. But I just think it was a bad decision.
I agree. I like Eric Bieniemy. I think he is overdue to be a head coach in the league. My only question, as you said, I don't want to get too much into the same kind of conversation we had yesterday, but my only question would be if you were willing to take the sideways move of just staying as an offensive coordinator, then why didn't you make those intentions known sooner? And there were better opportunities. The Chargers fired their offensive coordinator. The Packers fired their offensive coordinator. The Jets fired their offensive coordinator. Those are all landing spots where you could have gone and had some success, as you mentioned, because the organizations are run better. There's more talent on those teams, and there would have been better opportunity for you to continue to showcase how great of an offensive mind you are. But going to DC with the lame duck head coach and Ron Rivera, with the owner who pretty much is going to be forced to sell because of all the sexual assault allegations against them, this organization is in complete disarray. They don't even know if they're going to have a new stadium in the next couple of years because they got that continue to go on with FedEx Field as well. So it's a really bad situation for Eric Bieniemy, and I hope he does not become the scapegoat for a team that lacks a lot of talent and lacks a lot of leadership.
Yeah. Now the reason I definitely wanted to get to the Eric Bieniemy signing is because I know because we were running a little bit low on time, but I wanted to get to a statement that Skip Bayless made earlier this week in regards to the hiring of black head coaches in the NFL, and he said white owners are not comfortable socializing with black coaches, and that's a big part of the reason why we don't see more African American coaching hires or minority coaching hires, period, in the NFL. So I'll let you go first, Eric. Just give me your thoughts on that statement.
I think there's a lot of truth to it. It's something that you and I have highlighted before that the issue isn't the hiring of black coaches. The issue is who's doing the hiring. There needs to be more diversity in the front office. There needs to be more diversity in ownership. And then once we see that, we'll start to see the change in coaching staffs. But as long as the front office and ownership is predominantly white, we're going to see the same type of hiring practices that we've seen for decades now.
Yeah, and that's the thing that sucks, and it's crazy because because that was something that I didn't really think about, but when Skip said it, it does make a lot of sense because there are a lot of cultural differences amongst the races, and if you're not really willing to be open to learning and understanding different cultures and where people come from and why they are who they are, then yeah, I could see it being tough because this is somebody that you are gonna have to be around a lot of the time. You're gonna have to be around this person's family sometimes, that their friends and whatnot. So I definitely can see that being a huge hiccup for these owners, hiring minority coaches. And again, and you're right, Eric. We do need more uh minorities in those front offices in those positions. The only thing is, it's hard to get into those positions because those jobs aren't being made available uh to minority coaches, to minority GMs, to what I mean, to minority executives. Like we don't see that, especially in the NFL. I think the NFL is probably the most lopsided as far as the the players and the league being, I want to say, I think it's about 70 to 75 percent African American, something like that.
That sounds about right.
In comparison to the owners being damn near
Nine,
100%
yeah.
damn near.
The only
Yeah,
minority owner is Shad Khan of the Jaguars.
yeah. So It's tough, but we have to be in those rooms in order to make changes, and it's hard to get into those rooms because of the good old boys club.
Yep. And until that changes, like I said, we're going to continue to see the same hiring practices.
hmm So we talked about we kind of joked a little bit last night talking about the Texans being the team that hires all of the black coaches, but the teams be so bad is like, yo, they getting the opportunities, but the teams are horrible that they're getting the jobs with. So it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So in some cases, it's better for a guy like Eric Bieniemy to stay as the offensive coordinator in Kansas City than it is to leave Kansas City to take a job like Washington, like the Texans job, because we know those teams aren't going anywhere anytime soon, and you're not going to be there long enough to really make any type of significant change because they're going to keep firing guys because the team's going to continue to lose.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough either way. But I just wish, again, he should have made those intentions known sooner that he was willing to just stay an offensive coordinator because I think he would have better opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Really quick, I'm just gonna just drop one more baseball take before we get up out of here. Manny Machado has said he's going to opt out after this season. Um, what do you think he ends up? I think my guys in the Bronx might need to go make a run for him. If
That's crazy because I was gonna say I think the guys in Queens are gonna make a run for him as well. But um, I mean, he may end up staying. The Padres have been spending a lot of money. They're gonna have some tough choices to make though between him and Soto because Soto still got to get that bag. But I think New York is on his radar. New York was on his radar when he left Baltimore, and it didn't quite work out. I think New York is still on his radar, and I think that'd be um, somewhere he'll be looking.
shout out to Trump.
That's a fact.
Yesterday's price is not today's price. You are
That's a fact.
absolutely right. That the number goes up, and and if you guys have been watching us over the years, then you know that we are all about the players getting the bag. So listen, whatever Manny Machado thinks he's worth, I hope he gets it. More than likely, he is going to get it because he is one of the top players in baseball. So I'm sure he's going to get whatever number that he wants. Now, whether it be where he's at or in one of the New York franchises, which I think myself and Eric would like, um, hey, who knows? But listen, it's coming to that time. So get your pocketbooks ready. Get your wallets ready. Make sure you got enough zeros in your bank account because it's going to cost a lot of money if you want to bring Manny Machado
Well, I
over to
mean,
you.
remember he watched the Padres. He's like, y'all made a trade for Soto, who y'all know needs a new contract. Y'all gave Xander Bogart some money this offseason, right? Y'all paid him big money. So now it's my time. If you paying everybody else, I want to get paid too.
Yeah, exactly. It is what it is. Hey, listen, guys. Again, I want to thank everyone that's been rocking with us for the live. Let me throw Drunk's last comment up there. Drunk been going in all morning. But yeah, we got to get ready to get up out of here. So, Eric, can you give us a final thought?
Hey, we appreciate you guys rocking with us, man. Like we always say, you could be anywhere in the world, but you're taking the time to tune in to us, and we greatly appreciate it. Hope everyone enjoys their weekend, man. And we will see you guys next week. Also, we're doing the lives on Saturday, but we also do Facebook Live Friday night at 9 p.m. as well. So be on the lookout and tune into that as well.
Exactly. And yeah, man, I'm just gonna say again, make sure you guys subscribe to both the Sanchez Show and the Real Fans Real Talk podcast. We're streaming on all major platforms. For those in the New York City area, we are on every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m. on Verizon 43. You can check us out there. If not, again, all you got to do is go to that website, realfansrealtalk.com, click that red button on the homepage on Thursday nights, and you can watch from anywhere in the world. Subscribe to that facebook.com/real fans real talk, youtube.com/ for the fans productions. And of course, if y'all on Instagram and on Twitter, man, send us a tweet, send us a message on Instagram at real fan talk. Um, we're very interactive, as you guys have seen the past couple of weeks. We're very interactive with our fans. So make sure you guys are tuned in. Hold on one second.
Yeah, man.
Eric, take
That's a great. No, that's a great point. Like I said, if you have topics you want to hear us discuss, if you have questions throughout the week leading up to the live, let us know, man. We'll make sure to not only post it on the live, but talk about them as well. Um, Comments, topics. I said we got a lot more stuff coming out now, especially with the NFL season over. It's going to be more basketball related, but we also going to be giving you our Mount Rushmores. We're gonna give you our list, positional list and shooter list and different lists like that. So we got a bunch of stuff coming this spring and summer.
Exactly. And let me shout out my guys, my nephews in the comments, Aiden and Christopher. They've been watching all morning. So I gotta shout out my guys before we end off the show. Now with that being said, for myself, Trip Young, my brother, my co-host, Legend in Two Games, aka Eric Sanchez. We up out of here. Peace.
Peace.